Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today we're back at it with another standard deck tech straight out of Final Fantasy Standard, post-ban Standard, which I am so excited about. Magic feels like magic again. It feels like an actual game instead of just, you know, pulling a lever and spinning the slots. And I kind of love it. I love everything about this meta right now. Will I still feel that way in a week, in 2 weeks? Who knows? There may be some decks that come out of the woodworks that feel just as bad as the old decks, but at least for now, I am having an absolute blast, and the deck that I have primed for you guys today is an incredible, absolutely incredible contender in the new meta. I am shocked by how well this deck is doing, and I am absolutely in love with it. This one is called Slaughterhouse 3. If you might remember, if you've been watching this channel for a while, I've done 2 other iterations of this deck. We did Slaughterhouse 1, we did Slaughterhouse 2. All of them have been really great, but this version is just even better with new cards from Final Fantasy in conjunction with the fact that a deck like this is even better after the bans that we just got hit by in Standard. So everything is lining up perfectly for this deck to just be an absolute crazy contender in the current meta, and I can't wait for you guys to check out the games because they're absolutely nuts. Before we get there, we are going to break down the deck. I would appreciate it if you'd give this video a like because it does help the channel. It helps more people see the video. I appreciate it more than I can express with words. And be sure to subscribe if you're new because more deck techs, more spoilers, more everything is on the way. Also, be sure to catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/QuarantineCapricorn because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. This video has been brought to you by Wonders of the First, but I'll tell you about that later. Let's break down the deck. So you guys may have seen my Slaughterhouse series of decks before. I did Slaughterhouse 2, and they're one of my favorite archetypes, and now in the new post-ban Standard, it's actually kind of insane, and it beats almost everything. So the entire theory behind this deck is it's a control deck, but we're using creatures and to a certain extent planeswalkers as all of our control options, or at least most of them. And what's cool about that is a couple of different things. First of all, we're running Overlord of the Balemurk, which is a 5-mana 5/5, has that impending cost for only 2, and whenever it enters or attacks, you mill 4 and return a non-avatar creature from your graveyard to your hand, or a planeswalker. So if we're using all removal and control elements that double as creatures, that means this is like one of the rare times where we can use Overlord of the Balemurk specifically to find removal options, control options, because they're all in the form of creatures or planeswalkers. So we can use Overlord, we can find the cards that we need and still get that value, still have an Overlord on the battlefield that will eventually be a creature, while we're just controlling the board, sweeping the board, and doing all of the things that control normally wants to do, which is incredibly powerful. The other thing that's really good about running a deck like this, where it's control, but almost all of its control options are in the form of creatures, is if we're up against a deck that is very creature light, all of our creature control elements, all of our removal pieces aren't just dead cards sitting in our hand. We don't have Go for the Throat or Cut Down just sitting there, unable to be used if we're up against a creature light deck, because almost every card in this deck can double as pressure that we can play, put on our opponent, and potentially be a win condition to just end the game. So the deck can kind of pivot. It's primarily going to be control against decks that are running a lot of creatures, but if you're up against other control decks or combo decks, it can put a lot of pressure on the board really quickly and just close out the game before our opponent can deal with it. And do not underestimate the value that this deck brings. Everything in the deck just has so much value associated with it. We've actually out-controlled Jeskai decks, Jeskai control decks, and had more card advantage than them multiple times, and it's been kind of insane. The other thing that we're adding here, that's a new card from Final Fantasy, is Yuna, Hope of Spira. Not only is this a creature that the Balemurk can find, but when we have a Yuna in play, at the beginning of our end step, we return up to 1 target enchantment card from our graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it, which means all of those cards that we are piling up in the graveyard with Balemurk and some other ways are now going to be ripe for the picking, at least the enchantments are, with Yuna. We can even grab our extra Overlords of the Balemurk out of the graveyard if we have no other better targets, But we have some other pretty interesting top-end hits we can hit with Yuna in this deck as well, such as 3 summon Primal Odins, which will destroy a creature when we first put them out. Also potentially give us an optional win condition on 2, draw us cards on 3, be a body just in general. It's really, really good. And then obviously we're going to run 1 Knights of Round and 1 Bahamut, just really, really amazing with Yuna. And if we happen to just, you know, self-mill them away and they're just sitting there waiting in the graveyard for us to find, eventually we pop our Yuna and we make it happen. But what's cool about this deck is it doesn't lean on Yuna too much. It's not like the Yuna combo decks that you see out there where you consistently try to get Yuna out as early as possible, usually turn 4, and just speed to a victory. Like I said before, this is a control deck. And Yuna's just there as another crazy way to create value, to get you more control options, and also sometimes just put enough pressure on the opponent when you're in a situation where you're not necessarily needing to use as much control. Just kind of does everything we want at the top end. And a good example of that is we have Cruelty of Gix. Everyone has forgotten about this card. On Chapter 1, we can make them discard a creature or planeswalker, which we can then maybe get back later on. Chapter 2, search your library for any card and put it into your hand. We can use that to find our Yuna, find whatever we might need. And then on Chapter 3, we put any creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under our control. It can be the thing we made them discard, it can be something we killed earlier in the game, it can be our own Yuna that we self-milled and it's sitting in the graveyard. And what's cool about the way this works with Yuna, you bring Yuna back with Cruelty of Gix, and then Yuna at the end of your turn just brings back the Cruelty of Gix. And you can do it all over again. So I think Yuna with Cruelty of Gix is really amazing. I don't want to go too heavy on them, but I think 2 is the right number. Because sometimes if you're just looking to outvalue your opponent, especially if you're up against another control deck, you can use Chapter 2 to just find the second Cruelty of Gix, and then you're just really popping off with value. So I think it would be a mistake to not run at least 2. I wouldn't fault you for running even more than 2, but I think it might be a little bit greedy and win more if you run more than 2. So I think 2 is just the right number, and it's very versatile in combination with Yuna. Let's go back to the bottom of the curve and look at all of the cheap things we're trying to do while curving out. So in addition to the Overlords of the Balemurk that we can play as early as turn 2, we've got 2 copies of Esper Origins, which is going to dump stuff in our yard, give us a little bit of life against aggro, and more importantly, be sitting in the graveyard ready to flash back on a later turn. In fact, sometimes we're just going to mill this away with a Balemurk, and it's going to sit in our graveyard giving us free value later on in the game. We flash it back for 4, reveal the top card of our library. If it's a permanent, put it into our hand. It's almost always going to be a permanent. I'm pretty sure the Esper Origins itself is the only non-permanent card in the entire deck. So unless we happen to hit our second copy of Esper Origins, which we'll make sure we don't do because we're surveilling 2 when we flash this back, we're always going to hit on that Chapter 1, which is amazing. And then we have this threat that they have to deal with. And then next turn it adds 2 green. And sometimes that's enough to hard cast some of our top end, which is kind of insane. And then on Chapter 3, we give our entire board +2/+2 trample and swing for potentially alpha strike damage. It's just super valuable, super versatile, and really good when you end up milling it into the yard with a Balemurk. Our control options, we've got 4 Harvester of Misery and 4 Disruptive Stormbrood. Stormbrood's awesome because it's a sorcery that kills a creature with power 3 or less if we play it for petty revenge, but it's still technically a creature. So if we mill it away with the Overlord, we can just bring it back to our hand with the Overlord, even though it's technically the sorcery that we care about casting. And then if we need to pivot, if we're up against like a Simulacrum Synthesizer deck or another enchantment deck or something like that, we can just play the dragon as a 3/3 flyer and destroy an artifact or enchantment. So this card kind of does everything we want to do while being something that the Balemurk can find. So we absolutely want 4 copies. And like I said before too, if we're up against another deck that's very creature light, we can just play this out as the creature to put more pressure on the opponent until eventually they run out of ways of dealing with all of our power, our win potential, our damage potential, and eventually some creatures stick and we ride them through to victory. We've also got those 4 Harvester of Miseries, which can be a very cheap, uncounterable way to kill smaller creatures while curving out, and then still be a big 5/4 menace creature for board presence later on in the game if we want. and also be a pseudo sweeper, running 4 of these. You know, maybe discarding one early to deal with something on curve, but then later in the game getting to just nuke our opponent's board if they're running a go wide small creature strategy is also super nice. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, one of the only non-creatures, non-planeswalkers in the deck, we're running 3 temporary lockdown. It, along with our 3 Scavenger Regents, are sort of our sweepers of choice. We do have a couple other hits, like we already talked about the Harvester of Misery that can be a sweeper under the right circumstances. But I think this is the right split here. The lockdowns are going to come down, exile things early. We have nothing in the deck that technically costs 2, so it doesn't eat any of our stuff at all, even though we have plenty of 2-mana plays, which is part of what makes this deck so exciting. And then since it's an enchantment, we can bring it back later with Yuna if we need to, and eat our opponent's, you know, go wide small board as well. Which can be super powerful, even up against like a Simulacrum Synthesizer deck or something. Being able to bring back temporary lockdowns and eat all of their tokens is kind of huge. And then having the 3 copies of Scavenger Regent is sort of the other end of it. We can't get this back with Yuna, but we can get it back with a Balemurk. We can find it when we're milling with a Balemurk, put it into our hand, and then we can exude Toxin and clear the board -X/-X unless we're up against dragons. We need to find different answers if we're up against dragons. But what I love about this card is not only is it technically a creature, so we can find it with Balemurk, and we can exude Toxin, which will wipe the board and put it back in our library so that we don't run out of board wipes, but it can also just pivot and be really good pressure to put on the opponent. A 4/4 flyer gets the job done in 5 turns, even without any extra power. And that ward means they're going to be at a card disadvantage if they try to target this and remove it from the battlefield. And this deck already gets so much card advantage that usually we're always coming out on top in that situation. So I absolutely love the split of 3 Scavenger Regent, 3 temporary lockdown, and I feel like it's just right. Some of our other 3-drops, 1 Liliana of the Veil. You could argue adding more of these, but since it's legendary, I'm just going to stick with 1. Some nice early control that can keep our opponent's hand down as well, and potentially put stuff in our yard that we want there, like some of these big hits that we're going to get back with a Yuna. We've also got 1 Honest Rutstein, which in this deck is amazing, because it gets back whatever creature we want, and since all of our control, for the most part, is in the form of creatures. Thank you for the follow, DNR. Appreciate it. That means we can get back something that we're using to control the board with the Rutstein. We're not just getting back the normal kind of board presence with Rutstein when we play it, which is awesome. That being said, creature spells costing 1 less absolutely matters in this as well. For a lot of the stuff that we're playing later on to get board presence, it matters for the Saga creatures, the enchantment creatures. Yuna can come out for just 4 mana. A full Balemurk can come out for 4, or an Impending for just 1. There's a lot of value you can get off that as well, so I think Rutstein is worth running. We're going to go with just 1 copy because it's legendary, and we need to save space for the star of the deck, and that's Severance Priest. 3 mana 3/3 Death Touch is nothing to scoff at. This gives us board presence, puts pressure on the opponent, while being a relevant threat that can trade with whatever creature we might need to if something doesn't, if something slips through the cracks of all of our creature removal. But when it hits the battlefield, we get to exile a card from their hand. And even if they kill the Severance Priest, they don't get the card back. They just get an XX creature token, where X is the cost of that creature. We do have to be careful with what we exile, especially if we see that they have a hand full of removal, and we know there's an inevitability to them getting rid of the Severance Priest. But if we play this just right, it can be absolutely devastating, completely knock them off their plan of what they're trying to do while curving out, or take away some of their key cards that are going to stop us, while still giving us really good board presence that can contribute damage and maybe trade with a better creature. So everything about this card is just nuts, and again, since it's a creature, we can find it with the Balemurk. Moving on to the 4-drop slots, we have 1 other sweeper, and that's Meathook Massacre II. Now, what's cool about this card is it's not really a plan A sweeper. That's just plan B. If we happen to be later in the game and we have a ton of mana, sure, we can dump it into the 𝑥 and make opponents sacrifice creatures. Well, each player, we'd have to sack stuff too. But we can make everybody sacrifice creatures, and it can be like this auxiliary board sweep. But what we're really using this for is the other abilities. And whenever a creature we control dies, it just comes back if we pay 3 life, which is amazing with the Saga creatures. And it's still really good for some of the other creatures we're running as well, like Severance Priest. Sure, they get a creature out of the deal, but it comes right back. We still have our 3/3 Death Toucher, and we eat another card out of their hand, which is amazing. And then, as if that wasn't enough, whenever their creatures die, we get to steal them, bring them back under our control, unless they pay 3 life. So what that does is really kind of turn Meathook Massacre II into an alternate win condition. Now, every single time we kill a creature of theirs, and everything in our deck for the most part is able to kill creatures of theirs, they're going to lose 3 life. They're going to lose 3 life until they can't afford to pay 3 life, and they're close to death, and then we start taking their stuff and using it as even more board presence to just run them over. So Meathook Massacre is just even great just at 4, even if you don't pay the double X. The double X is just gravy. And it just kind of does everything we want in this deck. And the fact that we can bring it back with a Yuna and use it to protect the Yuna, because then if they kill our Yuna, we pay the 3 life and the Yuna comes back, is just kind of insane. So a really good synergy there, and Yuna helps really drive that home. And that's going to pretty much do it for the deck. I actually sort of love everything about this deck and what it's doing. It's running over creature decks, especially mid-range decks, but it's still doing really well against aggro, and more notably, even against control decks. Like I said earlier, Jeskai control, we are mopping the floor with, guys. They can't keep up with our value, even though that deck is built around value. We just never run out of cards. We never run out of answers, and at any given moment, every single answer in our deck, or almost every single answer, can just pivot and become board presence and put pressure on the opponent. This deck just does everything. I love it. I'm in love with it. As far as the lands, we're using the Surveil package and the Verge package because we want to be dumping stuff into our graveyard anyway, so that just helps drive that home. We've got 1 copy of Restless Cottage as well because it can help us exile key cards from graveyards, which can sometimes be really, really important. Omniscience, I'm looking at you. And yeah, that's pretty much the deck. If you want the entire deck list, including all the lands, it's in the description, so check it out. And let's check out the games. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Wonders of the First. Wonders of the First is a brand new collectible card game similar to games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, featuring a unique action-based resource economy that helps avoid pitfalls like Mana Flood or Mana Screw, and a battlefield containing multiple realms that unlock over time as you fight for control of the stones. The first 400 card set is called Existence, and they've even partnered with Star City Games to host their competitive play tour at every single SCG-Con event starting in August. The game contains alternate borderless art variants, as well as highly sought-after limited edition numbered prints, culminating in a 1-of-1 stone foil. And the best part is that the developers have a community-first approach with a card database and deck builder available via Cardio, as well as a version of the game available on Tabletop Simulator, all for free. For more information, be sure to check out wondersccg.com today. That's wondersccg.com. This is fine. If we need to kill something, we've got 2 options on turn 2, and if we don't, we Esper Origins. Make sure we hit our 3rd land. I mean, I'd prefer if we didn't have 2 Scavenger Regents, but we're gonna make it work. You faced Sephiroth Dimir control, and it's more insane than it looks. I believe that. And apparently you upset the pup. Right? Yeah? You grumbling? Yeah? You upset? You should. He killed my bae. Can't believe I just used the word bae. I need more coffee. What you got, Mr. Is It? Is it or ain't it? Well, we'll just Esper Origins. Would you like to counter it? It's good value for us if he counters it. Sweet. Bahamut's in the yard. Esper Origins is ready to flash back. Land drop number 3 is coming up. What you got? Soul Guide Lantern. That's not awful. Oh, you're scared you're gonna hit the Bahamut? That's fine. I guess we gotta just go for it, right? We save these as threats, potentially.
Enough with the mysteries.
We'll uptick, make him discard. And he will get lost it. We will discard a Harvester of Misery, since that looks like it'll be the least useful to us. One more mana and we can flashback Esper Origins. Can also just follow that up with 2 Scavenger Regents potentially, which would be really good. 𝐵𝑎𝑙𝑒𝑚𝑢𝑟𝑘 doesn't really get too much off the 𝐵𝑎𝑙𝑒𝑚𝑢𝑟𝑘, huh? I guess we just do this. Do we want the land? Kinda don't think we do want the land. Almost everything in this deck is a permanent, so I feel okay doing this and not knowing what's on top. Ah, it's an untapped land. That's better at least. We got rid of 2 lands and still drew 1. We would have had 3 lands in a row on top. That would have been kinda oof. Alright, Helix won't be enough. You're gonna have to get lost. That's fine. That's fine. Can't quite Scavenger Regent, which is kind of a bummer. So what do we do? That's the question. Guess we try to match him pound for pound. Yeah, we'll just play out a Scavenger Regent. And then we will use a map token on the Scavenger Regent and see if he's got removal for it. Rutstein, we'll absolutely keep that. Dude, get back the Liliana with that. He's running out of card advantage. He is running out. Rutstein. Alright, he's gonna do the thing. That's fine. Swing in. Okay. We'll play another one. Seems fine to me. I got a really tricksy play next turn. Play Harvester of Misery, and then Petty Revenge. He's just gonna sweep, isn't he? Well, we'll do it like this. We'll take 4 less, but protect ourselves in case he decides not to sweep. Kind of split the difference. Because if we just chump blocked both of them, then he wouldn't have swept. I mean, we're still... Oh my god, dude. This is great. Yeah, we're doing it. What's that last card in your hand, buddy? If it's a counterspell, use it now. Okay. Well, we're up on card advantage, so I'm not that worried about it. Severance Priest. Let's just play the Harvester out. Save the Stormbrood in case he gets an artifact or enchantment. Save the Severance Priest in case he gets a card. What you got? Another Soul Guide Lantern. Crazy. What a crazy game. But we are out-controlling control, and it feels real good. Sack that Soul Guide Lantern, buddy. Do it now, before we get more things for you to hit with it. Temporary lockdown. That does nothing against us. 2-turn clock. Lightning Helix. You can kill the Stormbrood. Not bad. Not bad. Plays the lockdown so that he doesn't have to discard the lockdown. Well, let's just do this. What is the ultimate value here? The biggest possible value play we could play. It's either going to be Yuna or it's going to be Meathook Massacre. I guess it depends on our yard. We don't have anything that the Yuna can get back until Cruelty is gone. But yeah, I guess Yuna. I guess Yuna because we use Yuna to bring back Cruelty and then find another thing, and we find the thing we would have found if we didn't get Yuna. Seems fine. Gotta get lost to Cruelty. Which doesn't matter because we have the Yuna. Yeah, he's scooping it up. We out-controlled Jeskai control. I knew you had it in you. That's what's amazing about this deck, because it's almost as good at being a control deck as any other control deck. Not quite. You know, if you were to specifically build into like Jeskai control, Azorius control, you could be a little bit better at being a control deck than this deck. But the thing about it is, it's almost as good, still beats most of those decks that have a hard time with control, but it can pivot, because all of the control cards come in the form of creatures. So instead of using them as control, they can just be pressure against other control decks. They're not just dead creature removal cards sitting in your hand that you never get to use. It's amazing. Can we keep this? This is the greediest opening hand I've ever seen. Absolutely not. This we will keep. Put back Knights of the Round. This is fine. We'll start with the Courtyard. We can Balemurk on 2 unless we need to kill something. We know we can at least get to Scavenger Regent for 2 on turn 4, which is nice. Looks like we're up against mono green, so we're absolutely going to need our creature control elements. We'll just get rid of this guy now, so we don't have to worry about it. Next turn, we'll play the Mortuary and the Balemurk. Bristly Bill Spinesword. It's not bad. It's not bad. Could just play a temporary lockdown. I think I would rather wait for him to get more things out, though. So let's do it like this. We will dump the Esper Origins. We will Balemurk. Man, we're getting so much value here. It's crazy. Get back a Rutstein? Dude, this deck is crazy. We have, like, unlimited value. Now we have something to flash back. We've got a free Rutstein in our card, which will get us something else back to our hand. And we've got a Balemurk on the field where eventually it can be a win condition. Ooh, he's going to be really unhappy. He's gonna be really unhappy. Sorry. 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 Mossborn Hydra. Do we have to worry about killing it yet? Yeah, we kind of do. If it grows too quickly, it's going to be a problem. So we sort of just have to. Alright, we've got a Bahamut in our hand. It gets the cost reduction, so it's down to 8. Next turn we'll have 6 mana. And we flash back Esper Origins. So the turn after that we'll have 8 mana. And then we will be hard casting Bahamut. Are you ready to hard cast Bahamut? Storm Poison? Yeah, that could be pretty good. Okay. That's a thing you can do. We could just kill everything still. With Scavenger Regent. Or we could set up... The problem is, if they get much bigger, we might not be able. So we could also set up with Esper Origins. I think I'm going to take a chance. Oh my god. We'll keep one. We're not keeping both, though. Alright. Pass the turn. Overlord's down to 1 counter. Not too shabby. The audacity. Mossborn Hydra. Look at all that mana. We have 8 mana this turn. It's now or never for Bahamut. It would have been a pretty crazy play, too. Because we would have just cast Bahamut, destroyed the Sheltered by Ghosts, got back the temporary lockdown, ate his Chocobo, his Brawler, and his Bill. He would have only had the Mossborn Hydra. And, yeah, things would have been pretty gross. We would have been set up with a whole lot we could do that next turn. Recording. This looks great. We're going to keep it. We'll start with the Mortuary. See what we can dump in the yard. We're probably going to want to keep that, actually. We've got some really good 5-mana plays. We're going to play the Verge. We're going to play the Balemurk. You good, Bentley? I hear my pupper having a nightmare. We're going to want something we can play cheap before we get to 5. I think Harvester's just best here right now. Probably play the Blooming Marsh next turn. Duress me? Chest to chest me? You don't want none of that. I mean, we do have an Overlord, so we kind of have the edge against Dimir control right now. He, sooner or later, will have to deal with our board presence. We'll Lush Portico. We'll dump the Odin. I really want a Severance Priest. Maybe even if it's just drawing out a counterspell, it will still be worth it. Although if we waited until next turn, we could get around paying 2 mana. If it's one of those counter spells. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Okay, he's just gonna counter it. Well, that's good then. If we got that out of his hand, he's not gonna be able to hit our Yuna. But he knows Yuna's coming. He sees it. He needs to be ready for it. And we are simply going to apply as much pressure as possible while saving our most valuable plays for last. He'll have to stop it. And when he does, we'll hopefully be able to sneak something else through. Bitter Triumph, that's fine. Overlord's almost up. That's one more removal spell down. Wastewood Verge. Esper Origins. Go ahead, counter it. Oh, you sucker. You sucker. Now we're playing it from the yard. A backup Yuna? Hell yes. And you know what we're playing next turn. Not Yuna. Knights of the Round to bait out even more counters or removal, because we're going to have the extra mana from Esper Origins to actually play it. It'll be the one turn we can. If we bait it out, and then we bait it out, we can finally land a Yuna, bring it back, completely take over. And while trying to stop all this, he has to stop all this. It's going to be good. It's going to be real good. Bitter Triumph the Balemurk. Guess that makes sense. Hi! Oh my god. Maduin, you are the goat. Not just because you look like a goat, but because you perform like one. We'll swing. Like, what is he gonna do now? He can't let us play things, but he can't let us keep our board. And he can't stop both at the same time, you know? We'll kill it, so that you don't do it again. There will be none of that, sir. Oh wait, that was gonna go away anyway, right? Yeah, that was dumb of me. Never mind. What do we got in the yard? Odin? Do we want a Yuna for Odin? Yuna for Overlord? Yuna for Cruelty? I like that. I like that. Severance Priest would have been amazing, but if we Yuna for Cruelty, we choose Chapter 1 and we get to look at his hand. Ooh, baby! You damn right we got lethal on board. Alright. We're going to keep this. This looks great. We can start with a Lush Portico. I think we got to keep it. I don't like having that many Surveil lands, but it's better than risking not getting a 4th land. Do we need to Balemurk? I think we should. Because we can probably find something we can use as 2-drop removal. I lied. We'll take the Lily. But we wouldn't have had many lands coming either, so... not the worst thing ever. Hey, we top decked one, but we don't even need it now. I don't think we need another one. I think we want to get closer to our 5th land. So we'll do that. Ooh, Top Hat is also playing Abzan. This is a Yuna deck, I think. I do believe this is a Yuna deck. We will keep the Yuna on top. We will play Severance Priest and get a look at his hand. It is absolutely a Yuna deck. He can kill the Severance Priest with the Virtue. So we're going to have to take the Virtue. The thing that sucks is if he does end up killing the Severance Priest, he gets a 7/7 back. Which is rough. We still have to, though. And hopefully he just plays the Overlord here. If he top decks a land that's untapped, he could play the Yuna. Alright, he's just going to play the Overlord. Honestly, probably fine. We can lock both the tokens down if we need to. And I don't think he's going to play Yuna next turn. I think he's going to play Titan. Which means we'll follow up with Liliana. You know what? Maybe it's better to just Scavenger Regent. Save our lockdown? No, we're not going to need it for anything else. Yeah, we're not going to need it for anything else. Let's get the value while we can. Swing 3. Alright. Time for Titan. Now we have to figure out a way to kill Titan. Oh yeah, Liliana. And then he gets to Yuna. Get the Titan back, but we can kill the Yuna. Part of me almost wonders if we should wait. Because if we can kill Yuna before you can get Titan back, that might be good. Nah, we don't want to risk it. We just need to keep his board at bay.
Nobody knows Dominaria's shadows. I've always hated crowds.
He's just going to get back Bahamut anyway. Alright, at least we have a lot of different pieces of value here, so when he does get back Bahamut, it's not the end of the world. Hits the Severance Priest. Interesting. We really need to be able to play Odin. And we can't. Scavenger Regent also won't hit the Bahamut, which is kind of crazy. We could get back a Meathook Massacre with Yuna to somewhat protect our board, or we could uptick. I don't know which is worse.
Don't overthink things.
And we gotta nerf the Bahamut, or else Bahamut kills us, which means... Oh, but he's got an Odin in there too. So he's gonna double Odin, kill Yuna, kill Bahamut, be set up for the Odin win next turn, potentially. It's not good. It's not good. I'm worried. I'm worried. Stormbrood kills Yuna. But that's really all we can do. Do we let Liliana die? Yeah, I guess no. I don't love it.
Fine. I'll take my zombies and leave.
He's gonna kill Yuna right now with the other Odin. And we are in a very difficult position. We cannot cast our own Odin. -3/-3 kills both of his Odins. Alright, well, let's see what we can do. We'll do this. Get back our Yuna. Alright, now if we do -3/-3 to everything, we at least survive. Right? At 4. It's not ideal. And then he gets back... what? Odin again? Probably not. Probably saves Odin. Overlord. Man, we are having some awful luck here. We could eat all the tokens with a lockdown. That's not really good enough, though. Yeah, all we can do is Primal Odin or temporary lockdown. And I don't know if any of that's actually relevant. I guess we could go Disruptive Stormbrood. I mean, it doesn't matter. No matter what we play, we're dead. No matter what we play, we're dead. I think the best hit is the temporary lockdown, though. See, the problem is we couldn't kill the Yuna and kill the big threat Yuna brought back in the same turn, which is always the problem with Yuna, and that's why Yuna's so damn good. We take advantage of the same thing in our deck all the time. We're gonna keep this. We're gonna play probably Shadowy Backstreet on 1, Blooming Marsh on 2, and if we don't need to kill anything, we'll probably just play the Balemurk. Set up for future turns. Mulligan's down to 5. Alright, what do we find? I think we want the land. Lands are good. Alright, we definitely have to kill that. We'll go with the Disruptive Stormbrood. Back in the deck. Back in the deck. Caretaker's Talent? Sure. Do we want to play a 3-drop? Or do we want to be able to play a 4-drop next turn? I think we want to do this. Not only does it give us board presence, but it gets rid of a problematic card in his hand. You can keep authority, that's fine. We can ride this to victory right now. Why didn't you play authority first? Oh, he only has 1 white mana. So it kind of didn't matter. I guess we keep the land. We'll play Lily. We will uptick. Discard Summon Knights of Round. And then we will swing for 3. I think we got him. We shall see. We're going to play Balemurk here. Let's see. We don't want another Odin. We don't want Knights of the Round. We'll take the Stormbrood. And we'll swing. And the turn. What's great is discarding the Harvester of Misery doesn't count towards the one spell per turn limit. Let's see what he gets. Just a Caretaker's Talent. That is unfortunate, my friend. Part of me just wants to play the Harvester of Misery here. We should probably just play the Disruptive Stormbrood, though. Yeah, let's just do that. We don't even need to get rid of the High Noon. Well, he might be able to smack for 5 damage. Let's just get rid of it now. And the turn. We got enough to play Odin next turn and kill something if he drops a creature. He would have been able to nuke our Severance Priest. So, or Liliana. Right? Any target? Yeah. Oh, man. Cruelty. Cruelty? Dude, sick. We're gonna choose chapter 2 though. And be real greedy. Real greedy. And we're gonna find another Cruelty? No, a Yuna. Let's go. End the turn. Dude, this turn's about to be wild. Absolutely wild. We play Yuna, we get back the Cruelty. Like, oh my god. Let's go. Let's go. Every single human on planet Earth has forgotten about Cruelty of the Gix. Cruelty of Gix. And we are going to take advantage of that. For sure. This wasn't the best keep ever, but we're going to try to dig into what we need. I think we keep this. I think it's valuable to us. We can play it on turn 3, and then we only need 1 more mana to play a Yuna. Pass. We're going to hold up the ability to kill the Gorehound. If he attacks, we'll just kill it. If he tries to play something else, we'll decide what's worse. We'll do this. No Surveil for you, sir. There will be none of that. Rusty. Get back the Harvester. No blocks. We will Mortuary. Ooh, Balemurk. I think we gotta keep it. And we're gonna pivot here and just play a Scavenger Regent. Just start applying pressure. That's what's so great about this deck. All of our control is in the form of creatures. So we can just pivot and put a bunch of pressure on our opponent if we're in a situation that's good for it. If only we actually had an enchantment in the yard. We're going to Overlord. See what we can find. Severance Priest or Deep Cavern Bat. We'll take the Priest. And we will play the Priest. Let's get a look at that hand, shall we? Oh my god. Oh my god, he's got no white. You poor, poor man. Yeah, it's over. Yuna's about to bring back Meathook or Cruelty. Start stealing his creatures if we need to. No white mana. We do have an Esper Origins we can play. Kinda tricky. We're gonna mulligan it. It's actually worse. I would have loved to play Esper Origins. We'll put Bahamut back, I guess. We can still play Overlord on 2 at least. But after that, we're looking pretty rough. Guardian. We need to get to 4 to kill the Guardian. Hopefully we can find a removal spell with Overlord here. Really? All of our land is gone? Dude. Arena, you're a joke. Alright. Well, we're gonna kill it with the Harvester. I'd rather them try to do some shenanigans first, though. Let's just do it now while he's tapped out, actually. If he wasn't tapped out, I'd wait for shenanigans. But since he's tapped out, we'll just do it. We need to get really lucky, guys. Because we desperately need land, but we're also not casting anything for like 3 turns, even if we just draw all land. And that's a huge problem. -2, -2. We might need it. It might be a mistake to dump it. But getting to a 4th land, I think, is more important here. It makes it so that this Exude Toxin can just do -2, -2. That's a bummer. I guess we should have kept it. It was, in fact, a mistake. At least we only have 1 more turn until our Balemurk's online. Uh-oh. He's got the 1 turn cycle win now. But he didn't do it. What is he... Does he not know how to play the deck? Bro doesn't know how to play the deck. See if he has a counterspell. He was supposed to discard a card for free on his turn to draw 2, and then discard another card to hit us for 6 damage. And then when he says go, it resets. He does the same thing on our turn, and we'd be at 4. But he kind of screwed up. He kind of screwed up. Well, now we got a creature out. He's got 3 Monuments to Endurance. Oh, he just hits us for 9 with the Collector's Vault. He still wins. He still wins. He did screw up, though. There's literally no reason not to just discard cards and draw 2 on his own turn. Alright, boys. This looks pretty good for an opening hand. We're going to keep it. See what we can find with the Portico. A Severance Priest. But I'm greedy and I want to keep it. It's fine. We got a Balemurk, we got a Rutstein, we got all sorts of gas. Might be better to try to set up our 3rd land with the Esper Origins than to play the Balemurk here. Hey, there we go. Do we want to dump the lockdown against green-white? Probably not. We're going to keep them both on top, which is bizarre, but I think it makes sense. Backstreet, keep it on top. So we can't kill it with the Harvester. We could kill it with the Disruptive Stormbrood, but we'd have to do it right now. Let's do it. We definitely don't want to play the Balemurk because we want to get that lockdown. Wait, where'd the lockdown go? Oh, I shuffled. Right. I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy. I should have figured that out and done it before playing the Surveil land. We'll absolutely keep the land there, though. I like that. Do we kill the Llanowar Elves? It seems like he's pretty low on mana. I think it might be a really good idea to just kill it. Just not get greedy and just kill it. Just slow him down. He's clearly trying to ramp up to something. Maybe he's playing like an elf deck? Leaf Crown Visionary. Well, now we got 5. I think we're just gonna do this. Set ourselves up to get the Balemurk. Right? And then next turn we have 7 mana. We could Odin if we wanted to. It's a lot of mana. That's a lot of mana. We could also Rutstein. Have 4 left over. Kind of tricky. I think that's what we want to do. I think we go Rutstein. Get back to Severance Priest. Balemurk for 1 mana. Get back a Stormbrood. And then play the Severance Priest. Hit his hand. Oh god. I guess the Preserver. It's the only thing cheap enough he can play without drawing a land. One, 3. Good old Odin. Good old Odin. 5/5, 5/4. -3/-3 with Scavenger Regent? this. We'll do this. We will swing. Can't trade with the Severance Priest now. And then we will play a 1-mana Balemurk because of Rusty. Yeah, he tried to lean on his mana dorks way too much, and it cost him. He was thinking, oh, I only got 2 lands, but I got all these mana dorks. Nope, no you don't. No you don't. Not anymore. Elvish Archdruid. Archdruid. So many options. We'll go, I guess we go like Petty Revenge, the Visionary. And then Petty Revenge, the Archdruid. Good night. Good night. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.